Hi, I'm Elaine Harding. Welcome to my blog at stampwithelaine.com. With the run up to June 19th, which is Father's Day, I will be doing mostly masculine cards. Today I'm going to be using a stamp set which will be retiring soon. This is the Happy and Heartfelt stamp set, and it's got a sentiment down here with Happy Dad Day. So I'm going to be using that stamp set. And this is the card we're making. It's a pop-up and it goes like that. I will be using the Brewed for You bundle. This is the stamp set and these are the dies. You'll find it on page 83 of the new annual catalogue for 2022 to 23. The Stylish Shapes die set, which is on page 125 of the annual catalogue. We'll be using the largest of them. We'll also need the next to largest to die cut the circle, this section here, in basic white. Some scraps of basic white to stamp and die cut the beer glass, and I've already die cut my circle at the same time. In Top Tip Tuesday, yesterday, I did a 101 on these dies. If you missed it, then I'll put a link in my blog post for you to have a look at it. But just to recap, these dies cut out the whole image and the stamped images for the tulip glass, the wine glass, and the beer growler. This will cut out the stamped images of the foam on top of the drink. These are the leaves and the hops. And this will cut out the detail of the lantern tankard. And these dies, special in that they will cut out the fillers for inside the glass if you don't want to stamp it, and at the same time it also leaves an impression, a debossed impression on the cardstock. You have to cut that twice because the foam head is white, so you need to cut out one in white and one in the colour of your drink if you don't want to colour it, but you can stamp it as well. The card base is 11 inches by 4 1/8, and on the long side you score at 5 1/2 and fold it in half. In metric that will be 28 centimeters by 10.5, and on the long side you score at 14 centimeters. The papers I'm using is from the Heart and Home suite in the January to June mini. It's on page 59. These will be retiring at the end of June, on June 30th. I've cut a piece for the card front, which has to be adhered to it first, and it measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. In metric, that's 10 centimeters by 13.5. So let's do that. You need to adhere the cardstock onto the card front first because you're going to cut through 2 layers, and as we're cutting an aperture it would be difficult to match both of them up, so it's best to glue it before you die cut. I'm going to glue this piece as well. This glue is not behaving, it's not coming out of the nozzle. I think I left the cap off it for too long. Now you need 2 pieces of cardstock, the same colour as your base card, and this is the first section of the pop-up mechanism, which measures 2 1/4 inches by 4 inches, and in metric that's 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and then you score on the long side at 1 inch, 2 inch and 3 inches. In metric that will be 2.5, 5 and 7.5 centimeters. for the part 2. This is 3¼ inches by 2 inches, and in metric that's 2 centimeters by 5 centimeters, and on the long side you score at 1 inch, that's 2.5 centimeters. Now I'm going to put tear and tape on this, but avoid the fold. And you need it on both sides. Put that somewhere safe, you need it later. And on this piece you want to put tear and tape along the bottom. And you need to angle the tear and tape because of the circle, so you need to put it on this way and cut that in the opposite direction for the other side. Oops, that should be this way. Okay, and then just straight across on this one. And put one just behind score line and set that aside to use for later. Then of course you need the stopper, so the stopper for here is 1 inch by 3¾ inches in metric. That will be 2.5 by 9.5 centimeters, and then in basic white for the top it's 3/4 inches by 3½ inches, so that's 2 centimeters by 9 centimeters. You also need a scrap of smoky slate so you can stamp your sentiment on it and then cut it with the die. I think I used this one. The nice thing about these dies is that it has a double stitched detail, so in fact not only does it leave a stitching detail on the outer rim, but it also leaves a stitched detail on the inside of the bit that you've die cut. The inks I'm using are Smoky Slate and So Saffron. The neutral Stamp and Write markers will need Smoky Slate. Bring in my cutting platform. So to make my sandwich I need platform 1, the thin die adapter platform 2, one of the platform 3 base plates, and put my cardstock on the plate and use the larger of the 2 circles, having equidistance at the top and the sides. Pop some washi tape on it to make sure the die doesn't move, and then the second platform 3 on top, and I'm ready to run it through the machine. So I'll do that off camera and I'll be back. Set that aside. Now we want to put our pop-up mechanism in, and the bit with the 2 rows tear and tape, just peel it back a little bit, not all the way, and you want to butt that up against the score line at the top, so that it's equidistant between the 2 outer edges, okay? And it should be equidistant on the circle as well. So once you're happy with the position, then you can remove the tape. Alright, then fold this back and remove these bits here. Then reinsert your circle, and you want to make sure that that marries up, and then fold that down, and that's your mechanism done. And you see why you need to cut that off at a 45-degree angle. If you don't, then this will stick to the circle and you won't be able to make it pop up. And you take the other part of the mechanism and you want the folded edge face down, centered on the first portion of your pop-up mechanism. Okay, so take that off. And pop it on the fold, make sure it's in the middle. So that's the fold there, okay? And then take this bit off as well. Fold your card front down, make sure that is bent backwards, and then reorient your cardstock, but flip it over the other side and reinsert your circle, and then voila, you have your pop-up. Put dimensionals on your stopper piece, the smoky slate piece, and then pop it where you want the stopper to go. I need a cushion because the stamps are made out of photopolymer to stamp my beer mug. I almost forgot, we need to stamp a sentiment, Happy Dad Day. I've smudged it. Do the other side. And I'll go and die cut that off camera and I'll be back. So there are all my die cut elements. Now we want to assemble it. I'm just going to use the marker pen and just draw a couple of lines here to ground the beer glasses. I'll glue the one with, ooh, that's a lot of glue. I'm just going to pop that on a silicone mat while it dries. Do I need one on that? No, I need it on here. I'm going to allow it to dry so it's repositionable. And I'm picking the white one for the foam on the top of the stout. And I almost forgot, I need some on here as well. I've let it dry a little bit. I think I'm going to put this on the glass so that I know how far up I need to adhere that. So down here. Then pop this one on the glass here. I think tweezers might be a better option for my fat fingers. I think I might need a little bit more here. And then dimensionals on the back of this. Make sure it's still clear of the circle. Am I clear? Yep. More glue. I refilled my glue pot. The nozzle on the other glue wasn't working, so I transferred the glue from that one into one that was working. And of course it's so full that the glue is just oozing out of the nozzle. Pop that down and make sure it's equidistant all round, and glue it to the larger grey circle. So there's your pop-up done. Now last thing to do is the sentiment dimensionals on the back of the sentiment. That way up and centre it on the card. Here's another one I made with a tankard. Display all 3 ways that you can dress your tankards. So you can stamp on it, you can use the cutouts to lay that individually, or you can cut the tankard first with the apertures and then slip a piece of cardstock behind it. So those are your options. There's the card finished. So I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. All the links to the supplies are below this video in the Show More section. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest or Instagram. If you like this video, then do give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on the subscribe button, like or share, please. Thank you.